Good afternoon, dudes and ladies. My name is Daniel O'Neill, and I'm next year's educational proctor at LBR. For my portion of the video, I'm going to be answering a few common academic questions from first-year students. So the first question is, how different is the teaching from high school to university? So the university teaching style is different from high school in a couple of ways. One of the largest is the change of pace at which you learn, and the second one is how much time you spend in class. So you're only going to have 3 hours of each class per week, and the pace of the learning is going to seem very fast compared to the actual amount of time you spend in class. You don't need to worry too much about that at the start though, because professors know you're new to university, so they're going to start you off a little slower and they're going to gradually ramp up the pace of the learning. So within those 3 hours of class time, your prof will go over the most important concepts of the topic you're covering, but where it differs from high school is that any type of practice problems or readings that you would normally do in class in high school, you're kind of expected to do on your own time now that you're in university. The next question is, what are the professors like? What do I do if I don't like a professor? And can I easily switch to a different professor/class? So the professors are actually pretty awesome. When I came to university, I was convinced that they were going to be kind of uncaring and not very interested in their students, but I was totally wrong. The teaching staff at UMB is absolutely fantastic. You're going to find that a lot of them are really friendly, they're very approachable, and a lot of them really do care that you succeed in their classes. So for example, I just finished my second year of university, and I can honestly say I like about 90% of my professors. They're just great. That being said, there is always the possibility that you'll end up with a professor that you don't like, and if that's the case, it is definitely possible to switch to a different professor's class. The only conditions for that are that there, first off, is another class being offered by a different professor, that there is room in that professor's class, and that the deadline for withdrawing and registering for courses has not yet passed. So if you do need to switch out from one class to another, it's very easy to do. It takes about 2 minutes. You just need to go into your e-services, go to your register and drop courses, and then you just drop the class you're in, sign up for the new one. Very easy, only takes a few minutes. And if you're curious about what some of your upcoming professors are going to be like, I would suggest going to ratemyprofessor.com, and that just has reviews written by past students. It has an overall rating for the professor. That'll just give you a general idea of what to expect when you're going into your professor's class. Next question, are we allowed to bring a computer to class? Yes, absolutely. Computers are in fact often encouraged for some courses. The only time you shouldn't bring a computer to class, or the only time you should never bring a computer to class really, is if your professor specifically forbids it. Other than that, you're free to do what you want. If you prefer a notepad and pencil, that's fine. If you prefer to use a laptop or even an iPad, that's also fine. How often can I expect to study? So the unofficial rule of thumb with studying is that you should expect to spend about 3 hours studying outside of class for every 1 hour you spend in class. This is just kind of an estimate though. You're going to find that some courses you really don't need 3 hours, and you're going to find that other courses 3 hours might not quite be cutting it. You might want to up it to 4, or however much you feel comfortable with however much until you feel comfortable with the material you're covering. What does an academic advisor do? So academic advisors have a couple of jobs. Their main one is that they're your degree planners. They're going to help you pick your courses, and they're going to make sure that you're completing your degree requirements on time. They're also really great for just general guidance. If you're thinking about picking up some extra courses, maybe taking some electives, or if you're thinking about dropping some courses, it's always a great idea to check with them first, see what they think of that. So don't ever be afraid to just send your academic advisor an email, or make an appointment with them if you want to talk about anything like that. And then when you get into your upper years, they're also really great for helping you pick your majors or your minors. Yes, and if you're not sure who your faculty advisor is, you can find that on the UMB website under your faculty. So just search, whatever faculty you're in, whether it be science or engineering or arts. Search for that with the words academic advisor, and a list should pop up. So where are some good places to study? Within LBR, I haven't lived there myself, but I've been told that some really great places are the study lounge and the cafeteria. Outside of LBR, the three main libraries are awesome places to study. There's the Harriet Irving Library, the Science Library, and the Engineering Library. They're great, they're quiet, they're big, there's lots of room, and if you want, you can rent out a private room for the day. My personal favorite study spot is the Student Union building at the top of the hill, and that's just a bit more of a social study environment. You know, it's a bit more open, it's a little bit louder, but at the same time you get kind of the more active environment to work in, if that's your thing. Next question is, how do I balance social life with school life? This is something that pretty much everyone has to kind of feel out on their own for what works for them. The biggest piece of advice I can give is learn how to budget your time. So plan dedicated times when you're going to study and try and stick to those plans. When I started university, one recommendation was to do kind of like a full-time job work schedule. So maybe if you're not in class between 8 and 6, you should be studying, and then you can have your nights off. But that is basically, that's up to you. So the most important thing is learn how to budget your time, is what I would say. Next question is, if I'm having problems with a class, where can I find help? So first off, if you find yourself having problems with a class, don't panic. It happens to everyone. It's quite common. And the campus is just packed with resources that can help you. There's so many resources that it would be impossible for me to list all of them in this video, otherwise I would still be filming come September. So I'm just going to list a couple of the main ones. First off, your peers, other people in your class, are an awesome source of academic support. I highly recommend working in groups, bouncing ideas off each other, reinforcing theories by discussing it with your friends. That's an awesome way to improve your learning. Next up, your professors. They're always willing to help a student who's trying to learn. A great way to get in contact with your professors is using email or dropping by in their office hours. And both their email and their office hours times and the location of their office will be listed on their syllabus. Every professor has that on their syllabus. If you're having any type of trouble with the first year math course, the Math Help Center on the 4th floor of Tilly is an awesome resource, and it's free. They have tutors there that can help you reinforce your math skills. There's also the Writing and Study Skills program. They're located in the C.C. Jones building. They focus on kind of rounding out some of your less used skills. They offer courses on creative writing, how to make better presentations, and another really handy one on how to write multiple choice exams, just to give kind of tips on how to do some of the things you might not be used to doing coming from high school. If you're in science, you have access to the Peer Assisted Learning program, which is called PAL for short. They usually meet twice a week, and there's PAL for all of chemistry, biology, and physics. Not sure about geology. And PAL sessions, basically, you get together with a group of your peers again, but this time there's a upper level student called a PAL leader, and they'll just kind of run through things that you've been seeing in lecture. Once again, reinforce concepts, but it's a bit more structured environment than if you were just doing it with your friends. Excuse me. The last resource I'm going to list is your friendly neighborhood educational proctor. That would be me. You can come see me if you're interested in having a house tutorial, which is where we bring in a tutor to the actual house free of charge. And they do kind of a group review. They're really great if you want to prepare for an exam or a midterm. Very helpful, so if you want to do that, just come see me sometime, preferably a week or two before your actual exam, so I have time to set it up. And these are just a few of the more prominent resources. There's loads on campus. So if you're interested on some of the other ones, you can feel free to come see me in my room anytime. My door is always open. The last question we have today is, when/where should I get my textbooks? So if you want to get your textbooks brand spanking new, you can buy them from the campus bookstore, or if you want, I know some people save a little bit of money by buying them on Amazon.com. The only thing I would caution there is that you make sure that you're buying the right edition of your textbook, because if you buy it from the bookstore, you're pretty much guaranteed to get the right edition, but Amazon can be a bit less reliable. I always recommend buying your books used, though, to save even more money, either from the bookstore or the Student Union book buy and sell, which usually takes place the second or third week of class, or you can buy them directly from an upper year student who doesn't need their old textbooks. Once again there, I would just caution that you're making sure to buy the right edition of your textbook. Sometimes the editions change from year to year, but the book looks pretty much the same. And in terms of when you should buy your books, there's no real set deadline. Certainly don't worry about having your books bought for the first week of class. Professors give kind of a grace period because they know a lot of students like to buy their books used. So as long as you have them by like the third week of class, or once you start getting into having to prepare for midterms, that's when you should be sure to have your books. But the second week of class, don't worry too much about it. Focus on finding, a good version of the book and saving money if that's what you want to do. So that wraps up our academic questions. Hope you found it enlightening, and look forward to seeing you all in September. Have a great summer, guys.